live, Gimli.
Where's the
We are,
YouTube link?
and we are live. Hello and welcome to a Burkamp Wonderland Transfer Deadline Day Special Part 3. The major news thus far is there is no news.
Change my hat.
But I have guests with me, and I bring a talented collection for this half an hour. Not Danny, as he's stroking his roadkill hat. But hello, Danny.
Meow. Meow.
You George Galloway. That's cuter. I can hear the puppies in the background. They sound cuter.
Don't be hating on me. I'm less full of shit than I was an hour ago.
Still fat though. Right. Next up is usual panelist on the show. He is the main attraction, just like Jeff Arsenal when he comes on. So I'd like to say a big hello to Dom. You alright, mate?
I'm good. Gim, how's things with you?
Noisy and
I
stuff.
see Danny's been to the same hairdresser as Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, yes.
50 grand well spent.
I don't really know what to make of you in that hat. As we said before we went live, the first time we did one of these, well, about 2 hours ago, you were inside a pig.
I know.
Which, granted, it's not the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
Don't know what you mean.
We'll move on to our next guest then, and this next guest is a regular blogger. I'm sure that you've all read his stuff on a Burkamp Wonderland's website. I'd like to say a big hello to Jake. Hello, Jake.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well.
You're a bit shocked by that one, weren't you? You weren't expecting such
I wasn't.
a nice
Do you know? I was a bit. Do you know the worst thing? It's John, isn't it, we've got coming next, and I completely forgot his name. But John, seeing as I've brought you in, hello.
Hello there.
And how are you doing on this fine afternoon?
Looking forward to the misery that is transfer deadline day for every Arsenal fan every year, as always.
Oh, isn't it just? Isn't it just? Right then. We'll start with Danny then. And Danny, do you have any of latest Arsenal news to bring us?
No.
You don't?
I bought Fabregas and Balotelli on FIFA last night, if that helps. If anybody plays FIFA on the 360, go and add me. It's the _GFP. I'll ignore your requests.
The breaking news in Gimli's household is he did the washing up and had a couple of belly pork slices since the last one. You just got to admit, I'm living the dream in my little Welsh castle.
Wow, lovely.
I know.
Hold on. Contrary to reports in France, Sky sources understand that Morgan Schneidlin will not be leaving Southampton for Arsenal this month.
Tell me something I didn't already know. I did watch the report on Sky Sports News, the Arsenal one, and he said not to rule anything out, but it was very quiet at Arsenal. So
they're leading us on like
don't rule anything out, but rule everything out.
Yeah, basically, look at this transfer lines and be optimistic, but understand it is all bullshit. We'll look to the group at the side then, and again I will ask for questions. If you've got anything you boys want to ask us, then just fire it away. I'm sure Chris has got something to ask, and it's nice to see we've got Zlatan Ibrahimovic back with us again, and Akib.
Oh, and Chris is there. Double Aussie.
And we've got a little bit of flip flop, God botherer Jason Davis himself. So that's always nice. So then, gentlemen, can we actually see Arsenal signing anyone this window? And I will go to Jake first.
For me personally, no, I don't think so. I think it took long enough to get Gabriel in. Gabriel Paulista, don't say that to Danny, he'll get mad. Gabriel took long enough as it is. I did hear from a friend of mine who is not an ITK or anyone special, but he heard about Jose Gaia might be coming in, but I don't see the point of bringing in a third left back who's 19. So, yeah, nothing for me personally.
No. And John, next, what are your thoughts on this transfer window so far?
It's been a bit quiet all across Europe, really. There hasn't been any sort of huge moves. I suppose the biggest one's probably Bonnie to City, but I can't see us getting anyone. I think the summer's much more likely. And I think a lot of what we do in the summer depends on whether Coquelin signs a new deal, and that'll then show whether we end up getting a midfielder. I'd rather we go out and get another striker.
So, John, do you feel the need for a central defensive midfielder or a striker to come in? And just how important is it for us to strengthen in this window?
I'd say like maybe a loan deal for someone. They could do that, but I don't think a permanent signing. Like I said, I mean, if Coquelin performs the way he has been from now to the end of the season, then is he going to want to sign a new deal if Arsene says he's going to go out and get someone like Schneiderlin in the summer? So I think that depends on it and how Bilic does as well. I know he's quite young, but if you're good enough, then you're old enough.
No, definitely so. And we'll go to Dom next. And we will carry on talking about Coquelin. Dom, you want Morgan Schneiderlin to come in. I've heard a little rumour that you're quite a fan of the Southampton man. So your thoughts on Coquelin and Schneiderlin? Do you think that they could challenge for the same spot within the team?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen this window. I don't see why Southampton would be inclined to pick up the phone and call us and let us know that he's available. And we're not going to offer silly money for him at the moment anyway. But in the summer, I definitely can, because if you look at the options in that position as it stands, we have, well, Diaby, who's non-existent, Flamini, Arteta, and Coquelin. And I think if you're really going to push on next season and be a proper... There you go, Danny. Did you fucking sort that out or what?
What?
If you're really going to push on next season and be, a proper contender, you do like at left back, you need two guys that are available to really push each other. And Arteta's not going to be able to play more than a game every other week just because of his fitness levels, and he's getting on a bit in age. And that just leaves Coquelin really, because I don't see Flamini and Diaby being with us next season. So there's definitely a spot in defensive midfield. So, and there's going to be plenty of games. We've already seen that this season with Jack and Ramsey in the central midfield position. There's plenty of opportunities. So, yeah, I think we'll go and get someone in the summer in that spot, but I just don't see it happening now.
And we've got Lionel Messi in the group, who's given us a little tip-off that Sergio Busquets could be on his way to Arsenal, according to his sources. So I wonder who that is. HP and Heinz, probably.
Salad cream, that's the only one you need. The rest are all wasted time.
That'll be the one if it happens. I'll be all over the salad cream.
And Chris dropping the bomb in the group that Monaco are loaning Ocampos to Marseille. So that's good news for Arsenal with the Champions League game coming up. He is one of their better players, and Monaco just can't score for shit.
There's a question here for Dom.
Go.
So this from Jojo Whack. Dom, will Wilshere be the new Diaby?
As far as injuries?
Yeah.
No. Like Diaby's problem came from when he had a smashed up ankle, and like I've said, it's a little bit different with what he had. He has restricted movement in that joint. Jack's just been a little bit unlucky with certain things when he was younger with stress fractures, which does happen to a lot of younger athletes, and it does take time to get better. He's only young still, and the last injury that he had, people say that he's got glass ankles. I've got ankles that are pretty good, and mine probably would have snapped in half with that challenge. So it wasn't a fact that he has glass ankles. You put anyone's ankle in that position, that tackle, and you're going to do some damage. So it's not necessarily down to him being injury prone that he got injured last time, and he had a pretty decent run injury free before that. He seemed to be past a lot of those problems that he did have. So he'll be all right.
No, hopefully so. Danny, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think that sums it up. We all hope that Jack will make a speedy recovery and realise he's not Pele and go on to have a glorious Arsenal career.
I will say I apologise if you're all hearing puppy noises in the background. They appear to have woken up bang on time for when we're actually doing the podcast.
Is Danny hungry? Little Danny hungry?
I am.
Danny is always hungry. You should see him. literally, when he's there feeding, he's got an all-white face where obviously he's got the milk over him, and he's got such a spread on him. Seriously, he must be twice as big as the rest of them. He's like a monster.
Okay.
It's very, very good. Right then. So, is there anybody else this window that we've been linked with that anyone in the group on here thinks that there is a chance we can get?
Oh dear, silence. That's terrible.
I don't think we actually need anybody this window. I really don't. People have sort of spoken about the striker position,
Yeah, I
but
was just going to say that.
you know, if the striker position was that desperate, I don't see we would be letting Joel Campbell, Lucas Podolski, and Yaya Hudson go out on loan. You know, who's realistically going to come in the January window that's going to be an improvement on what we've got?
That's the big ploy, mate. We're going to go and make a move for Marco Reus. I'm kidding.
It would be nice, but Jeff has already said on the last podcast that it's
he's off
his
to Madrid.
belief, that he's pretty much gone to
Of
Madrid.
course not.
Well, the reason I
of course not.
thought that as well, and if you've got Chelsea who were in for him as well, end up getting Cuadrado, they probably inquired and got told no, he's off to Madrid. So then they've gone, okay, well we'll get Cuadrado then.
Mm.
But,
And
you know, probably a little bit of an indicator that that's already done, I'd say.
And we've got a question here from Tom H, who says, so with Bild reporting Schürrle could cost around 50 million, how much is Abramovich giving in kickbacks to clubs for paying exorbitant fees for average Chelsea players? Now, personally, I actually rate Schürrle. I thought he had a reasonably good World Cup. Maybe I don't see what everybody else sees. I don't know.
50 million obviously over the odds, isn't it?
50 million is well over the odds, but I certainly
I heard
by
it was
no means
22
call him
for a
average.
start.
I think the only reason they're selling him is to get the money to buy Cuadrado. But as we said in the first one, I don't really see Cuadrado as an improvement on Schürrle. I really don't.
No, I don't think so either. But you know what Mourinho's like? If Mourinho doesn't buy the player, and it's not, if it's not a Mourinho signing, he's just not generally all that interested. So, Cuadrado was good in
It's
the
a
World
weird
Cup.
signing,
He was tricky enough, but I don't see him being the type of player that's going to push back and help out defensively, which, if you're a Chelsea player, Mourinho likes that kind of thing. And
He does
Schürrle
do that,
seems,
though. He does do that.
I think
He does track
Schürrle
back a lot for Fiorentina. But
would
maybe
be...
Schürrle does a bit more.
I was going to say, Schürrle would do it just as much. I think Mourinho's just a fucking idiot and a little bit of a moron.
Chelsea play a lot of their football through the middle, and of course you're going to, when you've got Cesc Fabregas in your team, a lot of your, attacking prowess and Costa up front is going to go through the middle. So, I mean, Cuadrado, is he really, like a flash in the pan, really, for them?
I don't know. Let's ask John. John, what do you think?
I like Cuadrado at the World Cup. He was a good player. But I don't see him. Yeah, like you said, I don't see him tracking back that much. It doesn't fit defensively for the type of player that Mourinho's got. But he's like the whole Schürrle thing. He fits the style, but I think it's just literally like Dom said, because he's not a Mourinho signing. He has his favourites, and that's it.
Because he was doing that at
I
Madrid.
think Chelsea made a mistake. They should have kept Kevin De Bruyne and not got Cuadrado, because Kevin De Bruyne has arguably been the best player in the Bundesliga this season, and he absolutely tore Bayern Munich to pieces this weekend.
Scored a couple of goals, didn't he?
Yeah, that was
there's a couple of examples of it, isn't there? You look at Lukaku at the time, was a much better striker. I'm glad Chris isn't here because he'd get a little bit angry. But he's a much better striker than what they had at the time, and then Mourinho was just too stubborn to admit that, that he'd made a mistake by putting him out on loan and recalling him. He just can't. He's just too much of an egotistical fuckwit to be able to, do what's probably best for the team. And same thing, it's getting rid of Schürrle to bring in Cuadrado, which isn't really, on paper at least, isn't really that much of a difference or an upgrade. And he was having the same problems at Madrid, wasn't he? Which is one of the reasons why he left, because he was causing so many risks by having Casillas on the bench and playing other people. And so, it doesn't surprise me.
No. And I can confirm that Chris has just put in the chat box that talks between Royce and the Pirates have broken down. Sky Sports News are yet to confirm that on the little yellow bar at the bottom of the screen, but we will await proper confirmation from that. And we'll move on then, and it appears like a lot of you want to chat about Wojciech Szczesny and his position at Arsenal Football Club. And who should we go through for this? I'll go to Jake. Jake, Szczesny, do you think he deserves to be number one at Arsenal, or with Ospina picking up clean sheets with every game that passes and not doing an awful lot wrong, do you think Ospina deserves to play more?
I'm going to have to ask you to start that question again. I just dropped out and came back in. I got most of it. Could you do that again for me? Sorry.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. Basically, the question was, a lot of people are saying that Szczesny should maybe be in the first team, but surely you can't drop Ospina while he's picking up clean sheets left, right, and centre, can you?
No, got to stick with the form keeper for me. We brought Ospina in. He's 25. You've got to give him his chance because. You look, if he's 33 and he came in, you can understand leaving him on the bench more so and letting Szczesny deal with his clear psychological issues. I'm not going to be the biggest Szczesny advocate you're going to meet. I think he's occasionally really weak with the one-on-ones. He concedes more than he saves. I mean, a lot of keepers do, but I've obviously been personally feeling that we should have gone for a stronger goalkeeper for a while, and Ospina's doing really good at the moment. I think that save last night was the one down low. That was for me. I said it on the radio show. I said if that was Szczesny, that was a definite goal. So while he's going well, he's got to stay in the team. If he has a blunder or two, then maybe change it up and see if Szczesny gets his shit together. But for me, Szczesny's really got to. It's put up or shut up now. He messes around too much. There's all these issues. This is not the first time. When's he going to grow up and be mature about it?
Yeah, definitely so. I think, Danny, if you look at him in games against Aston Villa and Man City where he sat on the bench and he did have such a face on him, it does his cause no favours, does it?
Face like a smacked ass.
He did have a face...
That's before he was dropped.
Yeah.
No, I just don't like the attitude of the bloke after hearing the story that Chris told us about someone who knows him. His general attitude, the first game back in the FA Cup against Brighton, running out of the area, going all fucking Manuel Almunia, like a human windmill, absolutely useless. It's like he refuses to be told what to do, and I think it's always a good judgment of a player to see how good they are and whether they represent their country or not. And at the moment, Poland have called up 5 or 6 goalkeepers in the last few games. So if Poland don't rate him good enough,
true.
Then he can't be trusted with us. I think he might even have to go out on loan somewhere because he isn't going to be happy being number 2.
No. And John, do you think his arrogance is that much of a problem?
I think you've got to be arrogant to a certain degree to be a goalkeeper anyway, because it's obviously, if you do make a mistake, then it's definitely a goal you conceded. So you've got to have that about you. But no, I prefer Ospina. He's so much calmer. The defence looks happier with him behind, and he just he knows when to come for the ball, when not to stay on his line. And sometimes he'll just lay on the ball and just sort of slow the play down and be sensible, not just kick it out straight away and give possession away.
And Don, we'll go to you next. I don't know about you, but I saw the game yesterday, and although Aston Villa never really threatened us, I wasn't concerned about the goalkeeper. Sometimes when Szczesny plays, you always think that he's got that error in him, and you don't get that from Ospina, do you?
No, he does the simple things well, and it's almost like when you talk about, a good referee is the one that doesn't get noticed, and it's nearly the same thing a lot of the time with your keeper. In those situations, a good keeper doesn't really you don't notice them too much. So he was always in the right spot. He makes the back four probably a little bit more calm as well. He did really well when the ball was getting crossed in at taking the ball in the air. He claimed the ball quite well, but he just didn't seem to go charging out of his area when he didn't need to. He's just calm, and the couple of saves that he did make were absolutely fantastic. So, he's not doing anything wrong to be able to get dropped in the first place. And look, everyone's going to make mistakes. He's going to stuff up eventually and let a goal in, but that's no reason to drop the guy. You've got to be doing a little bit more than making one mistake here and there to lose that job at the moment because he's been playing quite well.
And the whole time that he's in goal, and we've got a proper back four. I mean, we know Debussy isn't going to be back for quite some time. Monreal has stapled that position down for himself. You know, Koscielny and Mertesacker. I mean, we don't know what the situation with Gabriel is going to be yet. I mean, what kind of impetus he's going to have within the squad, but they're forming partnerships and relationships on the field, and they're learning to play with each other. One of the main arguments for Szczesny is that he's not had a proper back four in front of him while he's been playing this season. Is that a valid argument, Jake?
Could you go with that again? Sorry, I'm having a real bad internet day. It's raining here.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
okay. One of the main arguments that the Szczesny fans have for him maybe getting back in the team is that he hasn't had a proper back four in front of him this season. Do you think that's a valid argument?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously you want to have a solid base in front of you to continue with. It's a lot easier for communication. We saw how it worked for him last season. He was really good, you know, when for the most part we had Koscielny and Mertesacker together in near on every game. So it's give and take a bit, you know, like, I don't know. But this season he just seems to, I think it's gotten to his head a bit that, oh, well, you know, they let Fabianski go. This is my house now. I think he's dropped his head a little bit and dropped his game with it. So, like I said, yeah, it's give and take for me.
And another position that I can see mentioned in the group, and there's all day long we've talked about Schneiderlin on this podcast, but one of the players that hasn't really got a mention about joining us is Sami Khedira. There's a lot of talk around him being a free agent in the summer. Of course, you know, last summer we were heavily linked with him until the very last day of the window. What's everybody's thoughts on him? Dammy, Sami Khedira, is he a possible for the summer on a free?
I think with his injury problems and the amount of money he wanted to come to us when his agent in the summer, it was like we kind of agreed a deal allegedly, and then that deal went off because they went, oh no, we want more money. So Real Madrid wanted more money, and then his agent wanted more money, and then if he's going to be on a free, he's going to be wanting even more money. He's going to be wanting at least 200 grand a week. I don't rate him that much. I mean, he's a decent defensive midfielder, but he looks like the kind of bloke who'll always be looking to make a move somewhere else to make more money. I don't think he'll be happy over here.
No. As always, keep putting your questions in the chat box to the side. We've got about 10 minutes left, so we've got plenty of time to answer your questions. Just fire them at us and we will read them out. I'd like to know everybody else's thoughts on Sami Khedira. Dom, I know you are a massive fan of Schneiderlin, as we've already pointed out, but Sami Khedira on a free, is that too good to pass up, or is it just pissing money down the drain?
To be honest, I'm not really convinced by him. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I mean, just to give people an insight, the reason I do like Schneiderlin so much is because of the way that we play and the demands of that position in an Arsenal side. I don't think Khedira is up to it. I don't think he's the right athlete. I don't think he's got the speed to cover back, which is why Coquelin's been so good, because he actually covers the space that Flamini points at, and that's a massive big thing to be able to get around the pitch and actually, make an impact, especially when you're running back towards your own goal. And Khedira can't do that. Schneiderlin can. So just looking at our team and the way that we set up and the way that we play and the way that teams attack us, I just look at Schneiderlin and think that's what I would have loved to have been on with Jeff earlier. Not because I want to ask him who we're going to sign or who, but I just generally because he says I think we're going to be looking at someone better. I don't really know that many players out there that are better than Schneiderlin. He's a Premier League proven player. He is a leader. He has captained teams before that he's played for. He's done it at every level that he's played for, and he's clearly Southampton's best player and most important player. I'm not too sure that you're going to find much better out there on the market, to be honest, and he's 24, 25?
Yes,
he's coming into the absolute perfect age. He's got a pretty good injury record as well. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's just, for me anyway, I don't really see that many players out there that you'd look at and think, oh yeah, he's definitely a lot better than Schneiderlin. If anyone in the chat box wants to, I think that's probably a bit of a pipe dream, isn't it? To be honest, I think that he'll end up at one of the Spanish teams.
Yes, quite possibly. Another player that was banded around willy-nilly in the summer was William Carvalho of, is it Sporting Lisbon?
Oh, Big Willie.
Yeah, Big Willie. I've seen a little bit of him, and sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad. For me, though, I think he's quite unconvincing. But what do we think of him, John? Do you rate William Carvalho?
No, I mean, not for me. I'll be honest, I don't watch loads of Portuguese football, but I've probably seen him about 5 times this season. It isn't a lot, but every time I've seen him, I've just thought, no, too slow. He does basically, I mean, when they played Sporting Lisbon, they basically sort of go into a back three, and he just sort of fills in, doesn't really cover the ground. I think, like Dom said, you need someone more athletic who can actually move about the pitch. If I was going to pick anyone for that position personally, I'd go for Lars Bender. He'd be my pick, just slightly edged over Schneidlin, to be honest. And that could be a possibility, because they'll be getting Bayer Leverkusen will be getting Christoph Kramer back from his loan from Gladbach, so they'll definitely need to move someone out.
Danny,
here's a question for you, John. Sorry, Jim.
No,
As far as there's a few people mentioning a few, because I asked to name some players that are that are a lot better than Schneiderlin, and so people are saying Gonalon, Sven Bender, and people are saying Lars Bender as well. So John mentioned Lars Bender, but the question of, is he that much better, and is it comparable with price? You would assume they'd be the same price. Would you not take the Premier League experience over someone coming in from a different league?
Yeah, I mean, the Premier League experience is a big thing, but if it's a summer move, I think there's enough time for him to become acclimatised to the rest of his team. I think Bundesliga is a lot closer to the Premier League now in terms of physicality and the pace than people maybe give it credit for. And also, I would say, had it not been for an injury, he would have been more than likely a starting pick for Germany in the World Cup. He was certainly starting for them most of the games in the build-up to it. And he was actually starting ahead of Khedira, who, like you, I don't see, not for 200 grand a week or whatever it was he wanted. I don't see the value in that player.
no.
But I mean, I'd be happy with either.
Yeah, no, of course. And Danny, if we signed one of the Bender brothers, would you let me buy you a shirt with his name on the back so you can wear it?
What size shirt would it be?
XXXXXXL.
Oh, it's a bit snug. Couple
Really?
more X's and you could have a deal on your end.
All right,
It'd be too much with people making Cock and Bender jokes, wouldn't it, in the midfield together?
Mad Frankie, not calling him the Cock. He's too good.
The two
Bender
defensive.
in field, that'd be quite pairing.
Oh, who wouldn't love a Cock and a Bender in midfield? That's what I want to know. I mean, I think that's the burning question on everybody's lips. Another question that came in was Winston Reid. Was that deal dead in the water? And I think he's been linked with both Liverpool and Tottenham today. And I would have almost certainly said that the signing of Gabriel would have blown that deal apart. So I wouldn't expect to see Winston Reid linked with us. I would expect him to move this window to one of them two.
Did you hear about Andy Bayor? He's in links with a loan move to West Ham, which means he'll go there, score 5 goals in 12 games, then they'll sign him for 6 million, and then he'll never score again.
No, that's it. He'll go to West Ham, play a couple of games, score a couple of goals. He'll go, but Tottenham will buy him back from a loan because they are that stupid. It was something like 43 million because he'll be the best striker in the world, and then he'll never score again. He wrote, what's that film? Mike Bassett, isn't it? Football Manager.
Yeah.
Do you remember they had
England
that fella up front that couldn't score for him? That's Adebayor.
I remember when Spurs got him on loan, my mate Lee said he's going to be a great player, and when he got all those goals on loan, I went, that's what he'll do. That's what he does. He scores goals at first and then does nothing.
If that man fell into a barrel of tits, he'd come up sucking his thumb. Seriously. No word of a lie, gentlemen. Let's see what else we've got in the group.
There's lots of talk of Royce going to Real Madrid, and then that means, because the Real Madrid fans have been booing Bale, haven't they? Would you have Bale?
Yes.
It's not going to happen. He'll stay there.
He's not going to move from. He's got the good life at Real Madrid. He's playing.
They don't want him.
No.
Well, the
I
fans
saw Jace
believe
earlier
that.
talking. I saw flip flops on there talking rubbish like usual about how if Ruiz goes there, then what are they going to do with Ronaldo? Real Madrid have got $500 million of revenue every year. They don't need to worry about financial fair play, and it's never stopped them before. So whoever the flavour of the month is, they buy them and then worry about the rest later. Hence why Ozil left, Di Maria went. They just buy them in, and whoever cracks the shits enough is the one that goes. So they'll get him in. But Ruiz, he will definitely go to Real Madrid. I'm very confident that that's where he's going to end up. And like Jeff said earlier, the deal's probably already done. So, Jay, sorry, mate, but you're wrong again.
Oh, and Jason Davis, as speaking of the legend procedure himself, has asked if we should buy Soldado. I don't really know what to say to that.
I think for that comment, everybody should go to Jason Davies 71, sending pictures of flip flops.
Yeah, everybody just send him pictures of flip flops, old ones, because he's wearing.
Can I just jump in here? Sorry.
Yes, you can.
No, finish that. No, finish your sentence first, mate. I'll jump.
I was just going to say, because Jason today is wearing or sporting, so to speak, the latest Nike Bethlehems, and that's his footwear of choice for today.
And they're both left ones because he nicked them from a display outside the front of shops.
Yeah, nicked them from Clark's.
One's a size 6 and the other one's a size 14, but at least they were free.
And that's why when he walks with a slight limp round in a circle. But Jake, over to you.
Yeah, sorry, mate. While I've got you guys here, can I ask this question?
Yes.
When you say, before the ship sails, the one we were just talking about before, when you're talking about Schneiderlin and Lars Bender and all these guys, does anybody, are you guys all, this is going out to you guys and anyone who's listening, but do you guys want a defensive midfielder like what Coquelin does, just stays around the centre circle and covers the back four, or do you want, because what Morgan Schneiderlin does is Wanyama's the one that stays back when he pushes forward. That's the same case with Khedira. I saw it at the World Cup. He scored a goal. He pushes forward. The thing is, if we want a defensive midfielder that everyone's so badly after, the people that the majority are linking us with aren't true defensive midfielders. We want a guy that sits and doesn't go over the halfway line. Most of these guys aren't that kind of DM. And I love Lars Bender, but even he plays the Aaron Ramsey kind of game, like from last season. Not to that extent of quality, but you know what I mean? Do we want a DM or do we want what's being linked and what sounds good, Because for me, Coquelin's doing the job, but if we were to get an upgrade on him, we'd have to get an actual DM, not a fantasy DM who is at the edge of the box the 93rd minute at 2-2,
Yeah, I think
the whole DM argument's an interesting one because the old school DM that sits back and protects the back four doesn't really. You need to be so much more as a footballer these days. You need to have the passing ability and the ability to get forward and join in. And Coquelin can do that. I think that all he's doing is just being told, I want you to sit back. I want you to be more defensive. And if you bring in a Morgan Schneiderlin or any of those guys and say, look, this is your role in the team, a la Arteta, I think a decent player is going to be able to do that and make that position their own. So.
That's the hope. Yeah, we want.
Yeah, if you look at DMs around the world, even in top European teams, every one of them has the ability to push forward and to do a little bit more than just sit back. So I don't think it spells the end of Coquelin. He's it's going to sound harsh on the kid, but he's only played 5 or 6 games where he's been in some good form, which is fantastic, and long may it continue. But it's not really a big enough sample size to know whether he's going to be the answer to that hole in our position. And not only that, we've seen it before, like Jack and Aaron are our two premier central midfielders, and neither of those have been fit at the same time for the season. It's going to be pretty rare that you have a midfield where, we're talking now about potentially bringing another one in, because if Flamini's not good enough, Arteta's injured and we've only got Coquelin. So if he gets injured, then we're a bit stuffed again. So I think there is a massive need for a position there. And if you get somebody that has the ability to either sit back and or join in attacks, you can play that more defensive game, which we did against Manchester City, and you could have 2 holding midfielders there. And when you're at home, you could potentially put a Jack or an Aaron in midfield and have a little bit more of an attacking game going. So it just allows a few more options, I think.
And what I was going to say as well was, a lot of people have said, "Oh, we need another Patrick Vieira," but for me, Patrick Vieira wasn't a defensive midfielder; he was a box-to-box.
Gilberto, Gilberto was the defensive midfielder. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. And I I think I'm fairly on the fence with this one. I think Coquelin at the moment is doing a fantastic job. You can see from yesterday's game, when he needs to clatter someone, he can clatter someone. And I think that's what we've missed. Someone to go, look, you're not going to bully us. And someone that stands there, can take a hit and can give a hit. Danny, you've been very quiet. What's your thoughts on this?
Our shorts are Sean should concentrate more when she's playing GTA 5 because she keeps getting shot. All right. Someone's put in here, they reckon that Spina's hair is very underrated. That made me laugh. Yeah, I would keep Lecoq. I think he's only going to become better and better. And I think with Flamini there teaching him, because you see on the pitch that Flamini is really helping Cock out a lot. And with Arteta out for the season, I would say, well, we're not going to make a massive big purchase of someone like Schneidlin at the moment. Whatever we do with a player like that, it's going to be in the summer. If we sign anyone today, it's probably going to be a loan, if that. And then I'm quite happy to see Coquelin and Flamini in the midfield, one learning from the other.
No, that's a more than fair analysis of it, I think.
Thank you very much. That's why I'm here.
Danny's usually happy with a cock in the middle.
Easy, Tiger. Mad Frankie.
Oh, he had a pig on his head and a cock in the middle. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus. Thank you very much, Chris, who said, bang on, Gim and Dom. Kyle Walker, Flamini must leave in the summer, if only to free up some space. John, do you agree?
What is the internet going on in Australia, for God's sake? What's he on, dial-up?
I think it's very similar to
John?
what I said about the Australian dial-up.
Is John in Australia?
Oh, I thought he said Dom.
Oh, sorry. Cut out then. I'm back.
He is here. Right then, I think we should probably, seeing as we're at 36 minutes, wrap this one up. I know, Chris, if you want to put in the group, who's going to be on at 6 o'clock?
I can tell you because I've got this wonderful thing that Chris made. At
Hit
6
me
o'clock.
with it.
It's going to be
Backwards.
me and Chris hosting. It's going to be Welsh Justice. It says Dom. I don't know if Dom's on again. And the wonderful Bet. And maybe anyone else that we can find who can bother to talk about nothing for 45 minutes. Try and be upbeat about no information. But might even go into about the fake moon landing. Try and keep things going.
I have to go
I've
and
seen a question.
go on. Let's do it quick.
It's from Shannon about how long does a minor hamstring strain take to recover? Sanchez fit for Spurs? ? Completely depends. I mean, sometimes when they say, oh, he's got a bit of a hamstring niggle, it could just be that it's just an excuse to give him a rest. It could be an actual bit of an issue. If it is a proper little strain that he's got, that's going to confuse all the fitness experts on Twitter because he actually had rest and apparently Arsenal was going to run him into the ground, then he rested him, and then he picked up a strain by playing 15 minutes. So, look, I would say that it'll be a bit of a stretch to get to the North London game. If he's had a late fitness test for the game just gone, yeah, look, it's going to be dicey. If he is available, don't be surprised if he starts on the bench, perhaps, especially with the team doing so well against Villa, and having him as an impact sub, perhaps. And same with Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's got what I would think would be osteitis pubis. A lot of young athletes get that. It's an inflammation in the groin, similar to what Koscielny's got in his Achilles, but just in the tendons in your groin. And that's exactly the same from where if he keeps running, it just doesn't get any better, and it will actually sort of get worse. And the only way to treat that is to rest completely. But unfortunately, the longer you rest, the more you lose conditioning. So then he's got to try to get back to match fitness again if he rests for too long. So it's a bit of a juggling act with both of those players at the moment. So that's probably why we'll see Oxlade-Chamberlain in and out a little bit, depending on how he pulls up. But the Sanchez one, I still think he'll be a bit of a stretch to make the North London game.
Let's just hope the Sanchez one's not like Rosicki's one back in the day. Oh God.
No, I think he'll be okay. Hopefully.
No, let's hope so. Right then, that's where we will wrap it up for this. So that has been a Bergkamp Wonderland transfer deadline day special part 3. Join us at 6 o'clock, where we already have the lineups in place of Danny and Chris hosting, and Dom and Flip Flop and Bex. So
Flip-flop.
so thank you very much, boys, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we will see you all at 6 o'clock, and I will see you at 8. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Adios.
Bye.